Hey, so I'm James Chandler, I'm Global Mobile Director at Mindshare, and I've just been talking about two things really, how mobile has disrupted everything that we've done in terms of behaviours and things it's replacing, and then talking about what the world looks like when, you know, the pieces of plastic and glass in our pockets become other things, and that might be glasses or watches and, you know, all of that stuff that's going to come next around wearables and the Internet of Things.
One piece of information that you said in your lecture puzzled us quite a lot. You mentioned that only 2% of the mobile phone users actually shift their phone or tilt their phone into a landscape mode where they watch video. They keep their phones actually in a portrait mode when they do that. Where do you get that information from?
So it was a study that was done in the UK last year, and I think the point that it makes is if we're going to watch some long form content as I do on my commute, I'll always turn my phone around to a landscape role. The majority of the content we consume on mobile, though, is feed-based, and actually feeds work better as portraits. So in those kind of micro moments where we might be in Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat for, 10 seconds at a time, we are predominantly looking at that in a portrait mode. So it would seem stranger than we try and create things that only kind of work in landscape. So long-form stuff, yeah, people are probably tilting it, but moreover, the majority of people are looking at content on their phone in the way it's designed, and that's in portrait.
So are you actually hinting that many video clips are actually so short that we are lazy to shift the phone into landscape mode?
Well, I think, you know, the new behaviour you're seeing is that people aren't going to spend a lot of time with content if it doesn't grab them straight away, because they've got all this other stuff going on. So, you know, there's a whole new bunch of rules about putting the brand at the start and turning the sound off and making stuff vertical, which means, you know, consumers are going to stick with your content and your brand a little bit more.
And just one little thing about this research, was it done on population of all ages or just certain age groups?
So deliberately all ages, and we deliberately took a group that were 16 to 20 and then a group that were 20 plus. So we really wanted to see the balance between the two, and as I'm sure you can imagine, there's a real difference between the younger age group and the slightly older ones.
To retract a little bit to more general topics, we hear a lot these days about disruptive technologies. So how would you explain to somebody who hasn't had an encounter with them yet, what are disruptive technologies and how do they change our lives?
Well, I think it can change in any way. I mean, you've really got to look at what's happening with money. You know, the fact that we used to have cash and then we had checks that we could write. And then cards came along, and then we had kind of, you know, to sign your signature, which was really easy to fraud. Then we had chip and pin, and then, you know, we've got a technology now where I can just come in and I can just tap my phone and walk away. I don't need cash. You know, checks certainly in the UK are going away in a matter of months. So if you look over a period of time with something like money that we use every single day, that's the currency of our lives, that's just changed so much. And the reason why it's changed, I think, is because of mobile disruption.
What's the next step?
Well, the next step is that, phones might start to go away if we can find out a way of all these other things in our life doing the same. So our watch connects to our car, connects to our thermostat, to our smoke alarm. I think we're a little way off that yet because everything's got to work together, but you only need to look at Amazon and Google and Apple and all those companies. They're not just focused on phones, they're focused on a bunch of other things, which are cars and TVs and, you know, all of this stuff that is going to feature in the Internet of Things.
So would it be fair to assume that different devices will get some of the intelligence and capabilities of the mobile devices in the near future, therefore making mobile phones as we know them today, smartphones, useless?
Well, I think the phone will always be at the centre of it, because what the phone's really good at is really good at doing everything. So that sort of Swiss Army knife, all this stuff's converged into the phone. But actually my watch is probably better at telling the time and better at giving me little notifications. My car is going to be better at, you know, telling me what speed I'm going without looking at my phone. So you'll have lots of things that sit around a smartphone which are going to be, you know, better at doing one thing. But I think everything will converge back into the phone, and your phone will become the kind of remote controller of your life, I think.
So as you're saying, it is probably the only device that we will always keep in our pockets.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. It'd be very expensive to do otherwise, and you need bigger pockets.
And as you have said, the mobile phone is probably the device we mostly grab in many different life situations.
Yeah, 100%. You only need to look at Google research or Apple or any research to show, you know, if you've got 5 seconds, the first thing you'll pick up, rather than even talk to someone, you'll pick up your mobile phone.
Thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.